I'm gonna record on this computer. All right, I think we got it recording now. Thank goodness. I feel like crap. I feel like a complete ass. I'm
It's
sorry.
fine.
Right?
Okay. It's not your fault.
Shit happens, right?
Right.
Kind of sucks, but whatever. Man, one of the big things everyone is all over these days is WandaVision and some of the stuff that's been going on in it, and everyone's got memes and jokes about people's theories and running theories and things like that. But one thing is for certain: the mutants are coming over, and the Fantastic Four are for certain coming over, and we're getting funny things in WandaVision that point to a lot of stuff in the comic books, but we don't know for certain that's necessarily how it's going to go. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Well, welcome to LRMornings. I'm Kyle, and I'm joined today by
Manny.
and Manny. What do you think, man? A gun to your head. Do you think we actually get a word mutant or a Fantastic Four name drop in WandaVision?
Nope. Absolutely not. I don't think so.
Okay. Explain why you don't think so. Oh.
I just think it's too early. I think Feige's already set in what he wants to do with Phase 4. And even though, yes, he did mention that Fantastic Four are coming, I don't think that I think that's in the cards yet. And Feige's not the type of person like WB to rush things and to just stick things in there because they seem cool. Sony also does that.
Yes.
And so I don't it doesn't seem like it would be something he would do.
Yeah. Definitely. I know that WandaVision got moved, and I know they were working on it pretty close to release. The cool thing about that these days is look at the Mandalorian, for example, the khaki pants guy or blue jeans guy or whatever it was that got seen on that one episode of Mandalorian season 2. Next thing you know, he's gone. and they edited him out, so they can always like add and change little things on in post, even after it's uploaded to Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So I do wonder if they added anything at the last minute as a teaser, but I'm similar to you, where I don't think it was it's necessarily going to be we're not going to see the X-Men. I don't think we're going to see an Xavier or Magneto or anything like that in WandaVision. At the very most, we might hear something about mutations, or we might see someone disappearing into an alternate universe or a gateway with people walking through this one. At most, on that X-Men or mutant and X-Men side. Does that sound like something they might do, or you think they're, because look, minor spoilers, ladies and gentlemen, which if you're not watching WandaVision, you got to get past the first 2 episodes. Watch the first 3 together. I promise you guys can get through it. It's good. But the casting of Evan Peters as a version of Pietro Maximoff threw everyone off. Nick and I both discussed, well, actually all of us on Slack discussed early on, because we knew about the casting and leak beforehand, and we all thought of the possibility of stunt casting Um, do you think that's what he is, just stunt casting?
Um, Probably, and I obviously everybody knew that it was going to get a a reaction from everyone, but we're heading into the multiverse of madness soon, which is what WandaVision is supposed to be tying into. And in multiverses, you have multiple versions of
Mhm.
characters, and so you have Evan Peters as Quicksilver, who's not dead, and it fits the story. So I think that's the main reason it was used. I highly doubt we'll see any other X-Men from the Fox universe show up here.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Nick about what type of uh multiverse we wanted and what type we didn't. And part of that was neither one of us wanted the Fox movies to touch the MCU. And I I know a lot of people really like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I know um there was rumors of talks with Patrick Stewart and things like that, which made me nervous hearing about it. But you can only put so much into rumors, and I guess they could theoretically use Jackman for something without having to use the other stuff. But right now, if you go on Disney Plus and you look at their movies, they have a lot of the X-Men films on there from Fox. And if you're not going to use them, which I don't want you to, now I think people will actually be confused, like general audiences. Like, oh, you still had a few older people confused as why the X-Men never met the Avengers to fight Thanos, but the majority of even the most casual fans understood the difference. But now that you has uh Evan Peters and you do this and you've got these and people are hearing multiverse, it's almost like they're fucked if they don't use them now, isn't it?
Nah, not really. I mean, even Fox themselves have recast X-Men, young
Yeah.
X-Men, older X-Men. They went back to after Days of Future
Well,
Past.
let me correct. I don't mean you use them as the main team. I meant you using them as saying, yeah, that is part of our multiverse. Of course, I want to see all recastings and stuff like that. But
You see that wouldn't surprise me if it's like, yeah, that set of X-Men is part
yeah,
of set universe here or whatever, and they're just over there. I mean,
yeah.
that's something that DC is very, very synonymous for doing is just adding another multiverse. It's like, yeah, that's another Earth where that happens.
I guess it's just for me, it's like looking at how bad um some of those X films got, and just being like, I don't want like I don't want any of that anywhere near. It's like Sony. I don't want Sony anywhere near my MCU. I hate seeing Vulture in the Spider-Man trailer. I can't stand it. Um, I just I don't know, man. Do you have any redeeming things to say about the Fox X-Men films?
I mean, if they didn't do such a bad job with Deadpool, we wouldn't have had Ryan Reynolds Deadpool.
That's true. Who?
Because it was how bad that character was that really inspired him to take action and uh, to do his version of a more faithful version of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I mean, just Hugh Jackman as Wolverine was fantastic. It gave us, in a variety of movies. Not to mention Professor Xavier. Those two and you know, honestly, the guy who played Cyclops, I thought wasn't bad either. What's his name?
How do the young one, Ready Player One
No,
kid.
well, actually, both of them weren't bad. I was talking more of shoot, I can see his face too. Um,
I know I can't think of his name either.
anyway, but in a sense, you know, these were they started making these movies early on.
Mm-hmm.
This is before the MCU. This was something brand new, and yeah, it
James
wasn't.
Marsden.
Yes. Uh, so I mean, there's that. You can take a look. I didn't think Days of Future Past was that bad. That's probably my favorite one out of all of them. But that's not saying it was necessarily that great. But compared
Yeah.
to the other ones, I liked it a lot more.
And that,
Um, I think really where they went wrong also was and this is what I felt was that once they cast Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique,
mm-hmm.
felt like they couldn't get away from her as far as a focal point because of how big of an actress she was,
Mm-hmm.
and it became all about Mystique in all of the movies.
Yeah. Like it was
And
about Wolverine in all of the first 3 films and then Days of Future Past.
yeah, so that got kind of annoying a little bit because like Mystique's like that's never been one of my favorite X-Men. And then the only time they did my favorite X-Men, it was hot garbage. I'm talking about Gambit.
I know. I
So
know. I know. You see him on the right above my head on that top shelf on the opposite end of my chibi apocalypse. Yeah, Gambit, man. Fuck. Talk about disappointment. Like we've already got everyone and their mother talking about who should play Wolverine or if they should do one more movie with Hugh Jackman. It's like you guys already did Old Man Logan. Like, yeah, now you could do it for real because you now have access to Hulk and Hawkeye and everything. But like, uh, personally, while I know what the X films did and helped bring forward, I looking back, it's hard to like some things hold on to their nostalgia. Star Wars, Star Trek. You think about Super Mario Brothers on a video game. Certain things are Ghostbusters. Certain things are feel timeless. They have that nostalgia. I have none of that for any of the original X-Men film. Like, yeah, I've got good memories of friends watching them, but I don't ever want to watch X1 through 3 ever again. I mean, do you, out of curiosity, those 3 originals?
nope. I've never had necessarily the impulse to put an X-Men film on. I can tell you I've done that with like the older Batman films,
Mm-hmm.
a few of the MCU films, specifically like Thor Ragnarok is just fun to have on sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Endgame I watch every 2 months or so just to see if it still hits the same. And so and even Spider-Man 2. I enjoyed that so much with just because of Doc Ock. I thought he was so good. I hate Tobey Maguire, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it and you're talking about using that's the danger of using certain names for films like Old Man Logan because yeah, you made an unfaithful adaptation with what you had, not with what it was supposed to have. And so now that they're all together, you can't really do it. You mean you can do it again,
Yeah.
but now it's even more now then it gets confusing. Because if you think about it, Captain America they should have never named that movie Civil War.
Mm.
Now that you have all the characters, you can't do it again. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Civil War this time for real?
Because I'm scared they're gonna do a version of Civil War 2. But anyways, continue.
Oh no, never. No, Jesus, please don't do Civil War 2.
I know.
Well, actually, you know what? The thing about Civil War 2 though was it was the delays that really hindered it. So
a lot of people just dropped off and gave
I like
up on
the
it.
idea of Doom World, and Doctor Doom would be a fantastic main antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just I feel better about Doctor Doom as a villain than Thanos, because Thanos had a fucking glove, and you know, that's really what gave him all his all might and power. But Doctor Doom has a whole lot more, I don't know, just more sinister and brains and smarts, and he's actually human, but he's so powerful, and a lot of it has to do with you know who he is, Victor Van Doom as a scientist and stuff. I like that better. I then again, I just never liked Thanos to begin with overall.
Even in the comics.
No, I hate that guy. But you know, but he works as a villain for that reason, because he's
got a good, like you say, he works as a villain. But before we get into, because you brought up Doom, and that's great, because I do want to talk a little bit about the Fantastic Four, because again, WandaVision has got everyone out there looking for Fantastic Four name drops. There's this astrophysicist that's been mentioned on the show. There's debates because in the first mention, one of the foreign language either subtitles or descriptions used a feminized version for the third party being discussed. And then last week's episode, they're referred to as a he. People think, because she says, I got to meet my guy over the ridge, but technically the guy to meet could be the transporter of the astrophysicist. But there's some Fantastic Four shit there. I want to know personally, I want to see us get something that takes us to a universe with mutants, because I've been dead set on, I want, because Magneto and Charles have to go through something where Magneto experiences both, you know, trauma and bigotry. He as both a human and as a mutant. Like that's important, because it's 2024 in the MCU. Unless you want really, really old Magneto and really, really old Xavier. And I think in their 50s is okay, because that's kind of where you think they are in the comics. Usually when you're watching the cartoon in the 90s or reading the books in the 90s, you're thinking they're 50, 60 something. They're mutants, so they're you know, capable of moving more. Not Charles, but anyways. I want to see another universe, which means I want to see a whole brand new cast and team, at least for one movie. So I want to know, Manny, who do you want to see on your first X-Men team in the MCU?
It would never work, I think, as a one movie thing, because they would have to meticulously plan so much to get them over here that I think it would. I don't think it would.
I think you can combine Messiah Complex, like almost using you don't watch a lot of anime, right?
No, not anime.
Okay,
so
there's this one called Full Metal Alchemist, which most people have heard of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's this doorway on one side. They could do alchemy, which is like magic, and on the other side is a more realistic world, and it's kind of like Doctor Strange, where they harness energies between the multiverse. to do the alchemy, and I think there could be something like that, the parallel universe worlds, and since Wanda's a Nexus being, she's the same everywhere. If you do something like a Messiah complex, where our Wanda is creating mutations or something, their Wanda's ending them, and I think you could get a few movies. I wouldn't want it to happen in one, because I also want them to fight Onslaught. All of that before they come over to the MCU proper. But anyways, your team, bud. I'm sorry.
Obviously, it's going to be Professor Xavier has to come over.
Mhm.
That would be a must. Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, Wolverine, and we're just talking just straight like a basic team.
You're
okay.
Who you want to see most as your first,
and then obviously Gambit and Rogue.
Okay, so almost issue number 1 minus Angel. And
sorry, that's the one I was like, I know I'm missing one. It's Angel's the last one. No, that's what I want. That just give me the classic.
So issue 1 plus Gambit and Wolverine,
yes.
basically, and Rogue.
Yeah, because I don't. Oh, and Jesus, I'm naming too many now.
Yeah,
definitely Storm. Storm. You cannot not have Storm.
I would look at like you said, Xavier, of course, Cyclops, and Jean. I actually hold off on Wolverine until a second movie. Maybe put him in another movie as an additional character. But Cyclops, Jean, Gambit, and Rogue, Nightcrawler, and I think that, and Storm. Yeah, that's what, kind of like looking at the comics in the 90s cartoon and taking the best of what most of us, 80s 90s kids grew up with, and kind of mixing that team with Beast coming in maybe as a side character but not a full-fledged team member yet.
I've always seen Beast as kind of a catalyst to the team as far as scientist, and he's very friendly to everyone, and just because of how different he is and how he's able to handle it, I feel like, and then also he's been such an important connection with like politics also. So besides Xavier, I've always felt like he was very, very important to keeping the school running and keeping mutants priorities happening in the government. So that's what I've always liked about his character.
That's why I said maybe we should have him at least as a side character working. He might not be out fighting, but working.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With the X-Men,
he may just be at the Capitol like we've seen him before too.
And I'll tell you what, but believe it or not, I would wholly support Kelsey Grammer coming back and doing mocap voice work for Beast, because I actually think he has a great Beast voice, and I think his face in mocap would be fine for Beast as well. How do you feel about that? Or do you have someone else in mind for a good Beast
not
voice?
For Beast, I didn't have anything with Beast. I was thinking about fan casting yesterday. I didn't come up with all the names I wanted because there's so many.
Yeah,
I came up with a couple that I was like, yeah, that would be so good.
What do you got? Who are you thinking?
Well, my main two, I will be honest, and I think it may have been just because I saw it on I was flipping through and then I saw a Kingsman. I think that Colin Firth would be really cool to play Professor X.
Ooh, I am not against that.
I want my Xavier to be a little bit older, and he has that smooth, crisp voice that I think that would work really well as Xavier, and then to play his opposite with Magneto, I think that just because of I just like him as an actor. I think Michael Sheen would be fun to see as Magneto.
That could be very interesting. Did you see Sheen in Gettysburg as Lee?
Uh, no, I did not.
Um, I know the Civil War is a touchy subject, but it's historical, so fucking sue me if you get pissed off that I mention it. Um, Lee does a really good job in it, and Lee is a complicated historical figure, regardless, and he brings a lot of that complication to the screen in monologues and stuff. And we know in comics, villains love to monologue internally and externally. And when you said that, that was the first thing that came to mind. Yeah, Robert E. Lee, bad guy, rebel against the federal government, blah blah blah. But those monologues in the movie started playing, and I was like, yeah, I can actually kind of hear him as that Magneto, that strong but quiet voice that if it does raise, fuck.
Yeah.
So I like that. I do. You got any idea for your gambit?
No, I don't. Actually, you know what? I do. Luke Evans.
Luke Evans. Why does that sound familiar?
He played Gaston in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
and he also was in Underworld, and he's also one who killed Smog in
yeah, yeah, outstanding, cool.
I'm a big fan of Luke Evans. I like him.
Yeah,
he's fun.
To me, it's all about what do we do with Xavier and Magneto. Where are they coming from? Because I liked the idea at first of updating it to where they went through the civil rights era. But again, you're talking 50s, 60s, 70s, where you would want them to at least be 7, 8 years old to grow up during that era to experience it. And now we're looking again at really, really, really old Xaviers and stuff. So that's why this multiverse thing almost has to happen. And they almost have to come from a universe where events were similar but panned out a little differently,
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that they should be going to the Civil War era, because usually comics and movies, a lot of times, you've seen it with Star Wars, they do it a lot, they reflect on the politics and the social issues of our time. And right now, I think more than ever, an X-Men story would hit. I think that with things going on here in our country and around the world, I think that an X-Men story is more important than ever, just due to their diversity and due to some of the oppression they sometimes encounter with each other and with the government. And I think that both being missed a little bit in this case. I think that over at DC, for example, in comics, they're really hitting that hard. And although some of the stories aren't necessarily very good, the points they're making with Punchline, with what they're doing with Batman and anti-vigilantism, I think that it's at least relatable to what we're seeing. Although some people like that because it puts some of their ideas and thoughts in perspective, and in a way where it's defeated by the greater good in the end. And other people hate it because you watch these movies and you read the comics for escapism,
right?
But because of the way, especially with Marvel, with the history, with how they always try to be as relatable as possible, not like DC, who are more like gods. I think that this is a perfect time for an X-Men story.
I think you and I had a similar conversation before, to where we were like, this property amazing for contemporary politics and allegory, metaphor, whatever. Like this property, perfect for it. But this property over here is all escapism, man.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it doesn't even make. I'll DC and Marvel are good examples. While DC he was created, like you said, demigods, perfect heroes, and Marvel was created to be more relatable or whatnot. Even getting beyond them, look at the difference between the comic book world and Star Wars. When people start trying to project certain contemporary issues in Star Wars, I'm like, you guys understand you're trying to put human things in a galaxy of fish aliens and sentient droids and contemporary issues don't fit Star Wars necessarily because it's a different galaxy, a different universe. But you are absolutely right. The X-Men were created originally as an allegory for racial tensions and bigotry across the board. And while anyone that thinks America's worse now than it is or the world is worse now than it was 20 years ago as far as racism, just media loves negativity. Go actually look at the amount of stories, but things still exist. They're still there, and yeah, let's do a good X-Men movie where the bigotry against the mutants is not just something to piss Magneto off.
Right.
And
then you can bring sentience in, and you can it's exciting. Sentinels, it's fun. Yeah. Sentinels. Oh my god.
There you go. Some people think again, WandaVision, the sentient weapon. They think Director Hayward's gonna build Sentinels. I'm like, you better get some Trask in there somewhere. Anyway, was it Trask? Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought that a good Scott Summers would be. I think it's Montgomery, the guy that played Billy in Stranger Things and the Red Ranger Jason in the recent Power Rangers movie.
You want a young kid.
Well, Cyclops I think should be in his mid-20s. Yeah.
Okay.
I like my Xaviers in their and Magneto's in their 50s. My wife actually, and I couldn't find his name, but she was watching this Canadian version of Anne of Green Gables called Anne with an E. And let me see if I can actually find it. And in there is a gentleman who I don't know the whole story. I know he worked on boats. Maybe he was a freed slave from America, but he ends up in Canada. Anyways, this actor, and with an E, he's I don't know if he's really Cajun or not, but he plays like a Cajun speaking person. I don't really care for Anne of Green Gables, but the show and whenever he was on, his character and his acting was very, very engaging, I guess you could say. And I found his picture, and the actor's name is Dalmar Abu Zaid. Not a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff out of Canada, including some Degrassi stuff, apparently. And he's going to be on an episode of the upcoming Clarice. And then he was on a show called Pure. And then, yeah, like a whole bunch of Canadian stuff. But check that out. I think he would be really cool, and he sounded great Cajun. Yeah, I would buy it. So Dalmar Abu Zaid would be my pick, just from what I saw there. So check out some clips if you guys want to see what I'm talking about online. Type in Sebastian on and with an E, and you'll find clips. And I think he's got the potential for it. So Doom, dude, that's another thing. I mentioned the physicist. Some people have mentioned Doom as a potential for the physicist. This, I am almost willing to be like, you bring the X-Men too early, okay, whatever. You fuck up Fantastic Four, I might give up on MCU's. I'm not kidding, dude. This is not the place to drop the names Richards, Storm, or Doom. Do you think WandaVision?
No, absolutely not. It's a TV show. You're going to drop it in a feature film. You're not dropping it on a TV show.
I know, no, right? Which of these two do you... I think Fantastic Four is... Well, I think the X-Men in the end will be the more profitable. I think story-wise, the first family is more important to yes. get right this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very important because it has not been successful. And the last one was oh my God. The last one was so bad. And I honestly didn't necessarily think that. I thought Michael B. Jordan was good as
Johnny.
And then other than that, I didn't like the rest of the casting.
No, I'm not a Kate Mara fan though.
Kate Mara doesn't have any type of range, I feel. It's very just
I think people just liked House of Cards too much.
if you look at her roles, they're all very, very similar. She played a very similar role also in the first season of American Horror Story. And so, I don't know. As an Invisible Woman, you have to be able to have that dynamic with Reed Richards.
Yes,
so that's
chemistry,
very, very important. Yeah.
So, are you on that Krasinski and Blunt team or no?
No, 100%. Yeah.
Nick isn't. Nick hates it.
Nick also thinks that Birds of Prey was better than. So we're not going to go there. That's his opinion, and I respect it. Because I mean, I feel the same way about certain things when I hear them over and over again. Like I haven't seen Tenet because I've heard about it so much.
Yeah.
That I was just like, I screw this movie. I don't care anymore. But yeah, no, I think you need a power couple like that because John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, I think would be the right age to really be that veteran scientist team that have chemistry already, and we're they look the part. Just add a little gray hair to the side of his head, and he's good to go.
Yeah, I'm not against Krasinski at all. I don't like Blunt as much. I can't point to a lot of movies that I was not even the silent horror one, which was good, but even then I'm just like, she's all right. But you can't deny that on screen and at least off screen enough to reproduce that they have some chemistry. So that's a benefit. And while it might not be my number one pick, I'm willing to completely accept that. Big question though. Everyone and their mother seems to want Carlos Esposito as Doom. I don't necessarily want that. I love Carlos, but he's on Mando and The Boys, and that's good. I want him to focus.
Far Cry.
And what?
And the upcoming Far Cry.
Yeah. Let him be bad guy over there. Let's do something different and pick someone else and let someone else have a try. Because the first family, as important they are, I think in this world of combining technology and magic, that Doom is quite possibly the most important writing they're doing right now, and potentially the most important casting decision since maybe the new Spider-Man. You and I said it at the same time. There you go. Who do you think, man? Who's on your radar to play the leader of Latveria? And how mad will you be if Marvel does not have him both technologically a genius and using magic? Because I'm talking pitchforks.
Well, the thing is, if he's not using magic right off the bat, it's fine.
Yeah.
If I see like a Thanos evolution of him, where it's a slow build and he gains his powers as he goes along, fine.
Maybe see like occult books or study or something like that. Yeah.
And so because it's such a complex character,
yes,
and it's such a great character, that it's not a Fantastic Four threat, it's an MCU threat. And I think it almost has to come from seeing the first family fail, and then getting the help from everyone else. So the name that always crosses my mind, I don't necessarily want it because I've seen him play so many villains, but he plays so many good villains that I can't help but have him as like my personal fan casting. I almost want to see somebody new, somebody that we don't necessarily know as not as well known, and this is going to be his kind of grand entrance. And I think Disney would probably do a good job at finding that person. But just like they did, with John with Brolin, that's not his name.
Josh Brolin.
There you go. For Thanos, somebody established who has. I find that if we're gonna go that route, then I think I want Christoph Waltz. For Doom. He's a little bit older. He has that little bit of. He'll be a little wiser, and that guy's just evil, man. He has very good range. We've seen him as a Bond villain. We've seen him. He was also a villain in the Green Hornet, which was kind of a little bit more comical. Inglourious Bastards, I thought he was. I hated him so much. Like, I think about his face in Inglourious Bastards, hating him so much. Then another name that comes to mind, just because, but I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can pull it off. Is John Hamm?
Okay, I can get behind that.
Just because of his look, and then something that might be wishful thinking. And I don't know if he'd do comic book movies, but man, like. I think as far as an actor, he's phenomenal. Is Rami Malek? Yes,
absolutely a great actor.
Just
as Doom.
I think he would deliver. I think he would deliver the most insane monologues.
Yeah,
but number one, I don't know if it really fits his wheelhouse as far as playing Doom, but. I don't know. Maybe I'll get my fix of him when he plays the Bond villain when I finally get to see that damn movie. But
if
I think because I just seen him in the Little Things, I just think he's a phenomenal actor. And then an actor that it wouldn't work just because of how much he was used by Fox, but Michael Fassbender wouldn't be a bad choice either. But everyone's gonna be like, "Hey, look, it's Magneto."
Exactly.
It wouldn't work.
I actually my top 3 Doom choices all already MCU. Believe it or not, I thought long time ago Ed Norton. I think you look at American History X and then Fight Club, and than even his turn as Bruce. And you can see where he can do that quiet intensity and he can do that
I
loud
thought he should have stayed as
intensity. Yeah, I like Ruffalo. I like Horton. Benicio del Toro. I think he could have brought something very, very different and interesting to the role of Doom. And then Christian Bale was my third. But
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
all
Christian Bale would have been a good one.
all taken. And so I actually want to go big Hollywood, and I would like to see DiCaprio or McGregor, Ewan McGregor, take a shot at Doc Doom.
I think Ian McGregor would be way better than Leo. Ian McGregor just has a little bit more presence, I think.
I look at Shutter Island and The Aviator and Catch Me If You Can, and I didn't care for The Revenant. Like he got an Oscar and it was an intense movie and stuff, but like I know he's better than that. He's done better than The Revenant. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone joked that it's like it took him getting mauled by a bear to get an Oscar.
And McGregor, I've been trying to shove in the MCU since I thought he would have made a great Doc Strange 5 years ago. Before they cast Cumberbatch, which I think is perfect. Who is Ben? Because you need someone that can do mocap and is okay with being orange for a long time.
And this is something that I've actually said while seeing him on Legends seeing him on The Flash. I think Dominic Purcell would be a perfect thing. He's already Rocky and whatever when he walks and talks. He played Heatwave in The Flash.
Oh,
and
okay.
Then also he's in Prison Break.
Got it. Yep.
I think he has that. You have to kind of find that kind of like Rocky persona kind of. I think he would be a good thing.
What about crap. What about I'm so sorry. I had it and I'm looking at my lists and now I can't find it. Crap. Go back and listen to the episode where Nick and I last talked about Fantastic Four, and we had a really good idea there. I don't know, I can't remember it now. I'm sorry. So that leaves Johnny Storm, man. Who do you think would be the best Johnny Storm, and how much younger would you go than Emily Blunt?
So I'll answer that with both questions with one name. That's KJ Apa. He was in the movie Songbird recently, and then he's also Archie in Riverdale. He's already a ginger, so there's some red there, and then, and I think Human Torch should be younger than the three because I almost see him like being annoying. Well, he is kind of sometimes annoying and just flashy and just I think he would do it. I think he'd do well. And then the other name that I really like for Human Torch that I've seen also out there, but I just don't know if he would overshadow. But no, Krasinski and Emily Blunt have such a presence already that it would take a lot to overshadow them. But Zac Efron, I think, would be a great Human Torch. I like Zac Efron.
I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. And my pick again, trying to bring Montgomery over to the MCU because I think he would be great. And if I can't have him over in the X-Men, then I want him as Johnny. The guy's a good actor. I think I feel so bad for the kids that did the Power Rangers movie because they got such a short end of the stick on that deal because all five of the kids were amazing
I agree with you. I thought the casting was phenomenal. There's just the execute, and I even
aesthetics
liked
and execution. Yeah.
the execution was horrible. I mean, just I remember how excited I was for Power Rangers and then for me, kind of like Voltron and Power Rangers is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show the Zord being put together.
Yeah.
It doesn't just appear out of the ground. Like there's a whole like guitar score and there's a whole, and when you just like bring it out of the ground, you take away that and then same thing when they you get hyped when they say it's morphin time.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. And you had good casting. Zordon was great with names is
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yeah. And then even I thought Rita wasn't a bad choice, and I thought she looked great. She looked good, and the way that they had at the end teased Tommy, and then he had some cameos also. They had and kind of remember like Green Lantern, where they had everything they could possibly want as far as casting, but then they just delivered a shit story. That's kind of I feel like the same thing that happened here.
Yeah.
Just oh boy, yeah, the idea of parallax. Anyway, that's sorry, I'm having flashbacks now. But yeah, you're right, man. I've always wanted an opportunity to rant more about how good that cast for Power Rangers was and how just it wasn't executed properly. And then like why did they have to make the Zord so alien-y? Like,
I don't know.
Like it's like you're
six-legged mastodon.
You're reinvented the wheel for something that is unnecessary. And then but for contrast, I went back to watch the Power Rangers movie, and Jesus Christ, I didn't realize how bad
the original
the graphics
one
were and everything. I was like, oh my god, just
don't watch Turbo.
Power Rangers Turbo was good. Not the movie, but I like Turbo also. What is your favorite version of the Power Rangers? Is it the original ones?
Mighty Morphin. The audience can't see, but I'll lift my camera up and show you. I have a Tommy Oliver obsession.
Oh, nice. I have a. I've shown you my Dragon Zord in my office.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I love the original ones, obviously, but Zeo have a close place in my heart. I like their Zords a lot. And
it was fun to play with. My favorite Megazord was the Thunder Megazord. The samurai looking one, the first samurai looking one with the dragon that could fight on its own, could turn into its own fisted robot. Yeah, that group of Zords was my favorite.
Dude, I remember how hyped I was when they got a turtle. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "You gonna have a turtle?"
Oh man!
Anyway, now we're all
now we're way out there. It's going to be interesting on what they do. This is so important. I don't like you said, I don't know if everyone quite understands how important Doom is, and setting him up properly this time. It sucks so bad that the Dark Phoenix story has already been ruined twice in X-Men, which is why I keep pointing over her at some version of Messiah Complex, which I think was actually one of the last great X stories as far as like a group X story. And then as far as like big bads over with the X-Men, I think Onslaught, that psionic being created by Magneto and Charles on accident, basically, I think is a good opportunity for them. But Doom, like you said, he should. I know we're getting Kang the Conqueror in Loki, but guys, Doom has usurped gods and taking on powers that Thanos couldn't even take on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to be, like you said, an Avengers level threat. How do you want to see the Fantastic Four brought in to the MCU? Like, where have they been? Are they interdimensional, lost in time? Have they already existed? Are they about to go on their trip? What do you do, Manny, to bring them in?
That's a really tough question, because you would think that it would take a big event like a Secret Wars to have a place where they could like zap in. But I I also wouldn't be opposed to them somehow coming in as in the form of like being transported because of something that Doctor Strange does, which would be easy. But I think there would obviously be more story there that Feige has a better idea than I
Yeah.
do.
I won't deny that. I won't deny that he has. I had this one thought that I think would work well. It wouldn't necessarily do the fish out of water, but I thought maybe in the 1970s, the Fantastic Four and Doom go off on their trip. Maybe even make it in the 80s. I don't know. Whatever. Set it a little bit in the past, but something happens, and basically when the event that gives them their powers happens, Doom is kicked back to Earth, you know, with Issue, who's a while before the first family makes it back. And he aged differently. They aged differently. They had some experiences out there in space. And I actually want them to come back with her pregnant with Val and Franklin already born. I would like to see him be like 2 or 3 years old and make them have in the future, future foundation show with Val, Franklin, Johnny or Ben, and then I know it will never happen, but Miles instead of Peter, because it's the MCU and we can change the comics up a little bit. Future Foundation 100%. Was great. You like that idea?
But I do actually.
Cool.
But I will say that to your point, to change it up a little bit, I think the MCU has gained, enough respect, enough confidence where if you need to tweak something from the comics to make it work, just do it. Like if you're mad because it doesn't fit 100% with the comics, that's okay. I will say that I'm still not okay with the term Civil War in that movie. You call it whatever else you want. That was not Civil War. It's just because of the impact.
I know.
Like the Spider-Man had, and in some of the X-Men also, and some of the other characters that, and then also it was a way bigger topic than just, the Winter Soldier. Like I was like, no, Cap is wrong. Like there was no real black, like gray area as there was in Civil War. So anyway, that's an example of one that thing I'll never forgive them for. but yeah, no, at this point, if Feige wants to do a certain thing with his MCU universe, fans should always give him the benefit of the doubt as well as the opportunity, because he's earned it. And so don't always be, turn into SpongeBob and be like, it's like the comics, it's like, no, it's not. This is their universe. This is their story. These are their characters and their takes on them. So deal with it. Just like Hickman with what he's doing with the X-Men currently, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You don't like it, then don't go watch it.
Yeah. I used to be one of those that thought I wanted to see panel for panel, shot for shot, page to screen. And I realized as the MCU went along, and I was like, okay, that's 616, that's Ultimate, that's something new, that's an amalgamation. I went this is as good. It's just different. It's familiar enough. It's reading Earth 2 stories is what watching the MCU is.
Yeah.
It's familiar enough that you get a lot of that nostalgia from the books that you grew up reading, but it's different enough to surprise you. I was very happy that we didn't have to go with Nebula getting the gauntlet and going bad again, because I've liked Nebula's journey in the MCU as it is. And having her then take the gauntlet, and they paid homage to it with the 2014 Nebula picking it up. But I didn't want to see main Nebula go bad. So I was happy. I did want to say, when you mentioned Gingers, a couple things popped back up to my mind. Moynihan from Jedi Fallen Order, Shameless.
Okay.
I think he might be a decent Johnny Storm. He's got some acting chops. I like him on Shameless. He's pretty funny guy. Very, very funny guy. And Nick had brought up, I think, as either Xavier or Doom. I can't remember, but you can tell me yes or no on both of those names. Daniel Radcliffe as Xavier or Doom. I can't remember.
Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah, Harry Potter. That's what Nick said. You say no to both? No, I'm not 100% hint against the Xavier bit, if that's what he said. I can't remember. He's a little young. He's 31, but a little makeup, you can push him into his 40s easily. I don't know. I think there's better choices out there, but I wanted to see what your reaction would be. Harry Potter playing the quite possibly most villainous villain to ever villain.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I am so sorry about the live stream this morning. I will try to make sure that we have that figured out for next time. Trying to use new tech. I thought I had it all figured out, and look, I didn't. But we will try again next Thursday. Actually, tomorrow, because tomorrow we are supposed to do the Cantina live. Right around 4:00 p.m. Eastern. Cam, myself, and Shockey will be on. Join us next week when we're going to be speaking with Kevin Kraft from the Mad Scientist Hour, if I'm not mistaken, on our Mad Scientist Happy Hour on Patreon. Google Kevin Kraft. He's also on the Jason Ellis Show. Should be on Monday. Should be a great guest conversation. So look forward to that. And make sure you guys are liking, sharing, and subscribing the YouTube channel and our podcast channel, wherever you get your podcasts from. Guys, we got a lot of great shows, a lot of great interviews, a lot of great things coming up across the board for LRM. Keep your eyes on us. Big changes in the future. Manny, thanks for being on. Where can people tell you how right I am about my Gambit casting?
You can find me on Twitter at LRM_Emmanuel or on Instagram at riddlemethis_510.
There you guys go. You guys can find me at that Kyle Malone. At that Kyle Malone on Twitter. At that one Kyle Malone, that's number 1 on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will talk to you tomorrow.